It is funny how the most reckless decisions are the ones that burn into your skin forever, literally. The morning I woke up and saw the tattoo on my ribcage, I didn't know if I should laugh, cry, or run for my life. What was even crazier? The fact that the girl lying next to me had the exact same one. Her name was Claire. She smelled like whiskey and wild roses, a dangerous mix that made me dizzy the moment I met her. We locked eyes across a crowded bar in Brooklyn, and something inside me screamed, "She's trouble." And yet, trouble was the only thing I wanted that night. I had just walked away from a life that looked perfect on paper, steady job, a fiancé my parents adored, a future carved in stone. But inside I was suffocating. I didn't want safety. I wanted to feel alive. And Claire was alive in a way I had never seen before. We spent the night racing through the city like two outlaws, stealing laughter from empty streets, kissing between neon lights, and confessing secrets we had never dared to tell anyone else. She told me she didn't believe in forever. I told her I was terrified of it. Somewhere between a shot of tequila and the rooftop sunrise, we found ourselves inside a tattoo parlor at 4 a.m., demanding matching ink that would mark the madness. Now here we were, lying in a small apartment that smelled like coffee and cigarettes, our ribs aching with the sting of fresh tattoos. The ink wasn't the problem. The problem was the way she looked at me, as if I wasn't just another stranger she'd met on a reckless night. "You regret it already, don't you?" she whispered, her voice too calm, too sharp. I wanted to lie, but the truth clawed out of me. I don't know what I regret more, that we did it, or that I don't want it to be just a one-night thing. Her lips parted, a flicker of panic crossing her face. Claire didn't do strings. She didn't do attachment. But something about that tattoo, it wasn't just ink. It was a promise, a scar, a chain neither of us could easily break. The days that followed blurred between passion and fear. We would kiss like we couldn't breathe without each other, then fight like two people terrified of what they had found. She told me she couldn't be tied down. I told her it was too late, we already were. New York became our stage for both heaven and hell. I'd catch her staring at the tattoo when she thought I wasn't looking, her fingers brushing over it as if she hated how much it meant. And every time I threatened to walk away, she'd pull me back with a kiss that made the world collapse. But love built on fear is a fire that eats itself alive. And one night, when the rain turned the city streets into rivers, Claire finally snapped. "You deserve someone steady," she said, her voice breaking. "Not me. I'll only ruin you." I stood there, soaked to the bone, shivering in the storm. Maybe ruin is exactly what I need. Because you're the only thing that's ever felt real. For the first time, Claire cried. She hated crying. But she didn't stop me when I wrapped my arms around her in the middle of that raging storm. Two girls, broken and wild, clinging to each other as if the world wanted us apart. The tattoo burned that night, like a reminder carved into my skin. No escape. And maybe for the first time I didn't want one. The weeks after that storm were brutal. Claire withdrew into herself, disappearing for days, then showing up at my door like a hurricane drenched in regret, wild-eyed, and begging me not to give up on her. Every time I swore I would finally walk away, I remembered that night, the sting of ink on my ribs, the feeling of her lips against mine as the city burned with neon. It wasn't just lust. It wasn't just rebellion. It was something I didn't have words for, something that terrified us both. One morning I found her sitting on the rooftop of my apartment building, legs dangling over the edge, a cigarette burning between her fingers. She didn't notice me at first, her eyes lost in the skyline. "You ever think maybe this tattoo ruined us?" she asked when I sat beside her. Her voice was soft, like she wasn't sure if she wanted me to hear the truth. "Or maybe it saved us," I said. "Because now, no matter how much we try to run, we're stuck with each other. And maybe that's not the worst thing in the world." She laughed, bitter and beautiful. "You talk like forever doesn't scare you." "It still does," I admitted. "But losing you scares me more." For the first time, she didn't argue. She just leaned against me, her head resting on my shoulder, the city humming beneath our feet. In that moment, the chaos between us quieted, and I realized something I should have known from the beginning. Love wasn't about safety. Love was about choosing someone, even when it hurt, even when it terrified you. The turning point came a week later. Claire invited me to a tiny music bar downtown, the kind of place that smelled like spilled beer and broken dreams. She got on stage with a guitar I didn't even know she owned. And then she sang. Her voice wasn't perfect, it cracked, it trembled, but it was raw. Every lyric was a confession, every note a plea. She sang about the night we met, about the tattoos that bound us, about how she'd spent her whole life running from love until it finally caught her in the shape of me. By the time she finished, the crowd was silent. And so was I, except for the tears spilling down my face. She walked off stage straight toward me, her hands shaking as she cupped my face. "I'm done running," she whispered. "If this destroys me, so be it. Just don't let go." I kissed her then, not caring that the whole room was watching. Because in that kiss, I felt the war inside her finally surrender. From that night on, things weren't magically easy. We still fought, we still struggled, but something had shifted. The fear was still there, but so was the choice. Every day we chose each other. Months passed. Our tattoos healed, the ink settling deep into our skin like scars we no longer wanted to hide. Sometimes I'd catch her tracing mine with her fingers while she thought I was asleep. Sometimes I'd do the same to hers, memorizing the way it curved along her ribs. They weren't just tattoos anymore. They were vows. The funny thing about vows is that they're not about perfection. They're about staying. And Claire, me reckless, restless Claire, was staying. One late summer evening we found ourselves back on that same Brooklyn rooftop where it all began. The city buzzed below us, alive and restless, but we sat in silence, watching the sun melt into the skyline. She took my hand, lacing our fingers together, and for once there was no trembling. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked, her voice steady. "The tattoo?" I smiled. "Not for a second." She shook her head, her eyes locking onto mine. "No. Us. I thought about all the chaos, all the storms, all the times I thought we were breaking beyond repair. And then I thought about every kiss that stitched me back together, every laugh that made the pain worth it, every moment where her love was the only thing keeping me breathing." "Never," I whispered. "Not even once." She smiled then, the kind of smile that could end wars. And when she kissed me, slow and certain, I knew we weren't bound by ink anymore. We were bound by choice, by fire, by something that had no name but felt like destiny. The tattoo was only the beginning. The rest we would write on our own skin every day, for as long as we dared to stay alive in each other's arms. And maybe that was the wildest adventure of all. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.